Okay, let's pivot over to the AFC South.
Ugh.
This division, I think, is going to be fascinating because I think 8-8 wins the division.
It could. It could.
I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts being the division winner.
All right. I know you're high on the Colts. Always like the Colts. Well, then again, having a team 8-8, I don't know if that necessarily means you're high on them.
I have them 9-7.
Oh, okay.
What I should say is that I expect 8-8 to maybe win the division, though. Okay, so here's the thing about the Colts. The biggest question is Phillip Rivers shot? Is Phillip Rivers last year an outlier where he completely fell off a cliff? Does he still have something left in the tank? Worse weapons in Indianapolis than he had in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't get. Like, people are talking about, he has such a better supporting cast. Outside of a great O-line, I don't see what
Bingo. So that's where I was at, right?
Yeah.
With the Chargers, you have way better offensive weapons.
Yeah.
Shittier offensive line.
Right.
In Indianapolis.
Indianapolis doesn't have a Mike Williams. They don't have a Hunter Henry.
Well, people are high on Michael Pittman coming out, but still a rookie.
I'm intrigued by him, but
I still am not going to sell my shares of Paris Campbell. I like him too. Yeah. T.Y. Hilton is still there. But then in Indianapolis, you have probably the best offensive line in football with shittier weapons. So it's like you're trying to balance out the scale there.
Yeah. I think maybe because a lot of people put stock in the Frank Reich. And absolutely, Frank Reich is an excellent coach, don't get me wrong. But it's just, you look at the Chargers' skill position players, it's like it's not even comparable. They are much better than the Colts. Like there's a reason why Brissett really struggled last year. I know people are very critical of Brissett, but it's like he didn't have that great of weapons, especially when Hilton went down. And Hilton has been kind of injury prone these last few years, and if he doesn't stay healthy, I think they're in trouble.
I think they were the surprise team of the league last year through the first half of the year. Remember, at one point they were the 2 seed. They were 5-2 in the
That's
AFC.
Right. They beat the Chiefs,
and yeah, they had that big win against the Chiefs where, that was Mahomes. And they were like
that ball control offense.
They were like a 13-point dog on Sunday Night Football.
And I think that's what they have to do if they're going to win this year. There's a reason they invest in the running game. Like
5-2 to start the year, 2-7 over their final 9 games. Third youngest team in the NFL per Football Outsiders last year. I think Rivers brings some veteran leadership over there. He is on a 1-year deal, so kind of like inheriting a team that Andrew Luck should be having right now, which I still can't get over, man. That still hurts me. Andrew Luck comes back into the league right now. Where is he in your quarterback rankings?
I don't know. I don't really think about it because he's kind of irrelevant now. I love Andrew Luck, but I don't think about him. It's gone. Like, you got to move on. He's definitely probably top 5.
Andrew. They might have the easiest schedule in the league, an elite offensive line, solid run game. Jonathan Taylor getting a lot of buzz. I love him coming out. They're going to ride the hot hand with Mac and him. And also DeForest Buckner, I think, is a big boost to their run defense.
Oh, DeForest Buckner. And Darius Leonard was banked up. If he's healthy, he's a difference maker. Yeah. No, Colts will be competitive. They definitely have built a good roster. I don't know. Secondary, it's not a lot of playmakers. Still issues with edge rusher. There's like, they got the talent, but I don't know. There's not many players there that make you say, wow. Like that roster, you look around, it's like, okay, solid complimentary piece. Okay, he'll give you something. But outside of like Leonard, Buckner, Quinn Nelson, it's like, what else is really getting excited? Like, I'm intrigued by Jonathan Taylor, but I don't know. Like, the Colts are kind of like that roster where it's like, okay, Frank Reich is pretty much the man here, and he's going to elevate this roster.
I have them at 9-7. What do you have them at?
I'm 8-8, not making the playoffs.
Okay, so who do you have winning the division?
Tennessee Titans, still riding the Titans. Mike Vrabel.
Okay. Tell me why. Because I don't have them as a playoff team.
I'm concerned about their defense. I didn't realize talent-wise, it's not quite there. Like, they need Jeffrey Simmons and Harold Landry to kind of really evolve this year. Like, they need to take big steps because losing Jarrell Casey, that was like their core piece. And he was the man there. And, like, I was surprised to see him. I know the contract was up. He was owed a lot of money, and then he's getting up there in age. But just to only get a 7th-round pick, I thought Denver stole him from him. I was surprised by the move. But I think I'm banking on Tennessee. I think it's kind of more of continuity. Like, I love that offensive line. Derrick Henry pretty much took on the world. I am concerned, like, how they're going to manage his carries because there's no way you can have a running back 30 times a game. Hopefully they could dial back to, like, 20 to 22.
Over 400 total carries last year.
It's a concern. It's definitely a concern.
Historically, not a guy you want to bet on or bank on being as productive the year after.
Yeah, it's a concern, but like I'm putting him in like in the Adrian Peterson category where he's like a freak specimen.
Yeah. That's the biggest pushback, right? This is a guy we've never seen like that at the running back position.
Like and the thing is, he never really like the second half of those games. He didn't see him like decline. He was still breaking up runs like that New England game, that fourth quarter. He was still picking up 14, 16-yard gains in major moments to pretty much carry him to that victory. So I think it's more a factor of Tannehill. Okay, he's not gonna. There's no way he's going to throw as many touchdowns again on such, because there are games where he would have like only 18 or 22 pass attempts, but still manage to have like 2 or 3 touchdowns. Like, and I'm not sure how much you could put into those big shock plays with AJ Brown and Jonnu Smith.
Well, I think this year they're going to open it up a little bit more. I think they're going to have to. Number one, number two,
They
also
didn't make any investments. Like they didn't really sign anybody offensively.
Yeah. But also, AJ Brown last year. When did he start getting going against you guys? Like when did
that was like one game?
That was an outlier, right?
Yeah,
that was,
he didn't really get going until like November.
That
there
was
a
Mariota still.
Yeah, there was a time where he had 6 straight games of a 40-yard touchdown or more. But I would say,
but that was like week 11 on. So really,
but that offense didn't get going until November. That's why, like, I don't think that's much of an argument because it's like Mariota. I think that game against Denver late October where Vrabel was like enough is enough. And I heard like Mike Lombardi talk about on his podcast, like they wanted to start Tannehill from the beginning. Like Vrabel's like start him please, but the organization's like just give Mariota one more shot. And eventually it's like enough's enough.
I called last year Tannehill being a player on this team. Like I went back and I listened to a little bit of the episode last year, and because of the track record for Marcus Mariota constantly being injured, I thought I've always liked Tannehill, bro. I thought he's never gonna be the best quarterback in the league, but he's not gonna be the worst. He's
he's productive.
He's
Alex Smith, but with a better arm.
He's like 12 to 18.
Yeah.
Like if I'm doing my quarterback list, that's where I find Ryan Tannehill, and I like him, and he showed it last year.
All right.
You know, comeback player of the year as well.
Sure.
I'm a little worried about the Titans because the losses on their defense, and also I just think you're kind of still playing like early 1990s style of offensive football, and I'm just gonna this season I'm banking on my gut. Like I'm shying away from teams that were really really good in one-score games. I'm shying away from historical evidence that tells me that guys coming off years like Derrick Henry from a touch standpoint. There's going to be some regression.
The thing is, they're not playing a first place schedule at least.
That's a very, very important point that you made. Yeah, because they came in as a wild card. Right.
Like not having to play the Chiefs and Ravens while the Texans have to is going to be huge. Yeah.
Dude, Texans.
Yeah, so I'm still big on the Titans. Like I'm not totally encouraged by them, but I really like Mike Vrabel and Arthur Smith. I think they did a fantastic job last year, and there's enough star power there. I'm like, okay, they'll guide through. I think I got them at like 9-7.
Houston Texans. I have one question for you.
Oh man, this is just a mess. When I think of mess, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Houston Texans, just mess.
How does a team with a top 5 to 8 quarterback in the league go below 500 or have a losing record? Because one thing that professional bettors gravitate to is if you have and everything is subject to your rankings and how you feel about Watson. Where's Watson on your list, I should ask? Is he in that top 8 range for you?
Oh, absolutely top 8. I don't know about top 5. That's what I'm thinking about top 8. But I don't know how he's not in anyone's top 8.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel that way. If he's not in your top 8, I think that's a
ludicrous
issue.
Yeah. Top 5 is an argument.
Again, historically, top 8 quarterbacks don't go below 500.
Well, when you have an organization that just throws away draft picks like nothing to you get great talent. I'm most situated with like Larry Tunsil or who else today? I'm trying to
David Johnson.
No, not that. Not Brandon Cooks either. Like they just historically have given away draft picks like nothing, and just like you do understand, like you do have to build through the draft, and like their defense is just like everyone talks about their offense now losing Hopkins, but it's just their defense has slowly become like a bomb 10 unit. As much as I love J.J. Watt, Merciless is solid. It's just that secondary is really bad, and they don't have Zach Cunningham. He's promising, but it's just there's not much there defensively. And now you have the question on offense. It's like you have a lot of guys that do the same thing. You have a running back that hasn't been good since 2016, David Johnson, who you're gonna have to give the ball to because like you invested in him. But it's just there's so many question marks there, and just as great as Watson is, as great as J.J. Watt still is, I still think J.J. Watt's damn good. Outside of that, it's just like you're banking on like Will Fuller to stay healthy and still be that threat because there's no denying his chemistry of Watson's there.
But how much of that is having D-Hop on the other side, which I think...
But Fuller has that... All right. No one's Tyreek Hill, but I think there's like who's a better deep threat than Will Fuller? Like he can stretch a defense, man.
Nah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just his hands.
nah, for sure. I mean, bro, the game against the Falcons where he fucking had 200 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. He should have had 6 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he really. But again, this is my big concern. You're banking on a wide receiver core that's always hurt. Concussion issues for Brandon Cooks.
Cobb with a hamstring.
Cobb with a hamstring, Fuller with a hamstring, ACL, all this crazy shit. There's some people that I know in the league, #sources, that think that if Cooks gets another bad concussion, he might have to retire, bro.
Kind of like Jordan Reed.
Yeah. And it's very concerning. He had 2 in 3 weeks last year. Fuller has played 41 of 64 games in 4 years, and we know about the splits with him, with Watson. But also, I think a lot of that is D-Hop being there. And I think no team suffered a bigger loss from what they meant to their team and the elite level talent that they were than D-Hop losing, D-Hop moving on from Houston. And I get Brady leaving New England. I think D-Hop is more significant because Brady could make a strong case that he was a reason for why the Pats were struggling on offense and missing throws to guys down the field. So I'm a little worried, man. I'm a little worried about this team. And here, you want to hear an interesting quote? This was from I
just want to mention, like, their secondary is filled with, like, busts. Vernon Hargreaves, Garyon Conley.
Yeah,
Bradley Roby's decent, but he's nothing to go crazy about. Like, they just got a lot of players that...
A lot of former first-round picks that they're just like, hey, you know what? He was a first-round pick.
Dude, Vernon Hargreaves is so bad. Like, I cannot tackle. He can't cover.
Yo, check out this quote. Someone breaking down the Houston Texans going into last season. O'Brien, the reason that they have hit their ceiling as a franchise, they'll win their division here and there and maybe win a wild card game here and there. And then when they play the elites of the AFC, like the Chiefs, like the Pats of the world, they'll get blown out. Do you know who that quote was from?
No.
Me, bitch.
Oh. All right. That was...
Patting myself on the back, bro, because, what happened in the playoffs? So, not for nothing, right?
Okay, yeah. And sometimes they get blown out by division rivals. Look at the Colts.
Yeah, but think about this. 2018, they lose to the Colts in the playoffs. 2019, they beat the Bills in the playoffs. Then what happens? You go into the divisional round. Where in the divisional round, the reason why I said that is you're playing the elite of the elite that season. You're coming off a season in which you had a bye week.
Yeah.
And they get the doors blown off them by Kansas City. So I'm a little concerned about the Texans.
I'm a lot concerned.
Yeah. I have them at 6-10.
Wow, me too. Man, Deshaun. Get Eric Bieniemy in there. That's all I could say.
Yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence, end of discussion.
4.5 win total is expected. It's a complete rebuild. They've gotten rid of every player that is good on their roster.
I'm waiting for Miles Jack to leave. When's Miles?
Pretty much.
DJ Chark maybe too. That's about
it. They just got rid of Fournette as well. I think Chris Thompson could be interesting because Gruden is there as an offensive coordinator.
There's gonna be a lot of checkdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. But this is a team where they're gonna go through some pain now for maybe pleasure later.
They're pretty much the Miami of this year. Could they luck their way out into 5 wins? Who knows? But I highly doubt, just because I don't really trust them.
2-14 for me for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I got my 1-15.
I got Colts 9-7 winning the division. Titans 9-7. Texans 6-10. Jaguars 2-14.
Titans 9-7. Colts 8-8. Texans 6-10. Jaguars 1-15.
Give me all your playoff teams in the AFC and give me the seeding. You know what? I'll go first. Chiefs as the 1 seed. Remember, the only bye week team this year is the top seed. Then I got Steelers, Patriots, Colts. Then I got Ravens, Browns, and the Bills of Buffalo.
I have 1 seed, the Ravens, 13-3. 2 Chiefs, 12-4. Hold on, look. 3, I have the Bills at 10-6. 4, the Titans at 9-7. And then Steelers 5th at 11-5, Browns 10-6, 6th seed, and then the Patriots, the dangerous Patriots as the 7th seed.
Wow,
dude!
I like
I just realized I got Patriots Chiefs as a playoff matchup. If that happens, good googly moogly.
Yo, so I have Steelers, Colts, and Browns in the playoffs that missed the playoffs last year. I think it's very important to remember. I saw this one dude from Fox Sports And I hate being a troll. I don't like being like, oh, yo, bad. You know,
Okay.
like, I feel like we need to be professional. But he had all the same teams making the playoffs from the AFC. And it's like, bro, that just doesn't happen.
That definitely does not happen.
You can't, if you do your playoff projections and you have all the same teams, you're going to be wrong. That's just the history of the NFL. You can't have the same teams.
Okay.
So I got 3 new teams in the playoffs.